Now, coding versus programming. What is coding? What is programming? A lot of people mix this up. Now, coding is the process of translating instructions or solutions into programming language that a computer can understand. It involves writing lines of codes. In fact, I wanted to go further in explaining it, but the next statement clearly, or should I say, clarifies it, elucidates it. Look at the first definition. Coding is the process of translating instructions or solutions into programming language that a computer can understand. What they are just trying to say is that whenever you are writing codes, take for example, you are using hypertext markup language codes on Notepad++ on that environment, and you are writing codes, like let's say you want to write code for a button, open bracket, close bracket, button, and so on, like that. What you are doing is coding. Whenever you are writing codes, those things appear like jargons mixed with English. Are you getting? In form of Python, JavaScript, or C++ to perform a specific tasks or solve problems, you are coding. You understand? What you actually do when you get to your HTML environment, the HTML file, the CSS file, or the JavaScript file, what you type on it so that it can generate, that will eventually run those jargon looking sentences or whatever that you type, and that you click run to achieve a particular aim or to carry out a particular operation. You are coding in the process. Now, when we say programming is broader. In programming, coding is involved. You understand? Can you see that coding is a part of programming? That's one thing I want to clarify. Coding is a part of what? Programming. Coding is a part of programming. I repeat again, coding is a part of programming. Programming is broader process of creating software. In the process of programming, even the software being used, when you are creating a software like, let's say, PowerPoint for creating slides, what was done to create it is coding. You understand? It's programming in the process. Now, programming is a broader process of creating software, which includes planning, designing, algorithms. You first plan. When we say programming is wider. It starts from your planning. Okay, fine. My plan is to create a software that can measure the speed of cars. Then I structure a design for the environment. That's the next thing. You first plan, then you structure a design, then you write algorithm of the functions of the platform. Those algorithms are the set of rules or guidelines which each whatever you structure, the buttons, the faucets, the text and everything, the way they are going to function, the interactivity of the environment. When you write it down, okay, if I click this button, this is what it should display. That's an algorithm already. The set of rules that you put down that will guide the coding. Then after you have put down the algorithm, which is like a set of rules, you understand, it's a set of rules. Then from the algorithm, you now write your codes in a coding environment. Then you test, you debug. Debug means you are removing faults. Whenever you hear debugging, you have to test. You understand? That's why nowadays we have a profession, well-paid profession. They call them software testers. You understand? After it, the level of programming, we have the people that test the programming at the level of the programming language, the coding level. They test to check if the programming has been properly written, the program has been properly written, the coding has been properly done. Then the software that has been produced, we have software testers. Those ones are the ones that will now write, okay, these are things we observe about the software that you have produced before it goes to the market. Then the software testers will communicate with the people coding. You understand? That's the programmers. You understand that? Okay, fine. Or the computer scientists, that okay, fine. I observe some mistakes here. You understand? And now the programmers will now go to the coding environment and do the corrections. And maintenance means after it has been produced, you need to update, you need to add some features. That's the maintaining aspect. You see that I'm trying to make you understand it. Now it involves logical thinking, problem solving, and using coding as one of the steps to achieve functional software. So coding is when you're actually writing the codes on the hypertext markup language, those jargons that you write, the hypertext to achieve the operation. On the hypertext markup language, it can be JavaScript, it can be Python, on those text files in the text editor environments. When you are typing those jargons to achieve an aim that you later run, you are coding in the process. Those jargons you are putting there are called codes. Then programming involves when you start planning the kind of software we want to create. Okay, this is what we want the software to achieve. You design the structure, how you want it to appear. Then you write algorithms for the functioning, rules that the aspects of that interface will follow to function. Then you now put codes on the platform, on the coding platform, on the text editor, based on the algorithms you have written down, based on the instructions you have written down. That's algorithm for you. I'm still going to do a separate lecture on algorithm. Then you now test. You test run after the software has been produced. Those are software testers will test. And debugging is, okay, we have discovered some mistakes. With the software testers will go back to the coders or programmers that, look, there are some mistakes observed here, and there are some things that need to be added. Okay, they add, they remove. Then after that, they launch it. After launching, they do maintenance. Maintenance involves updating, and so that it will be up to it will be able to stand shoulder to shoulder or even better above the contemporary software. You understand? So it involves logical thinking, problem solving, and so on. Now let's just differentiate it. Definition: writing instructions in a specific programming language is coding, while programming involves designing, writing, testing, debugging, maintaining. So the only aspect of coding is only the writing of the instruction on the programming language, on the JavaScript file, on the hypertext markup language, and CSS, which you can, the files you can open in the text editor environment. So when you are writing those jargons there, you are coding. While programming involves from the time you start designing, writing the code, testing, debugging, and maintaining the software. That's programming altogether. Scope focuses on converting logic into code. You understand? As in a concept you have drawn down. You understand? Okay, I want to program a website that whenever I press a button, it will turn, the environment will turn red or pink. Okay, that is a concept, that's a logical reasoning. I want to convert it into code. Then I will now start typing the code based on my training experience on coding to achieve that. Then while programming now involves problem solving, designing algorithms, and full software creation. You see that programming is wider. Just get that concept. Complexity, generally simpler and straightforward. Of course, while programming is much more complex because it involves a lot of levels. You understand? And a lot of people are involved. One person can be involved in coding, but many people will have to be involved in programming. Skill required is just your basic knowledge of programming. For coding, it's just your basic knowledge of programming syntaxes, all those syntaxes, that's what they call it, syntax that you write. But when it comes to programming, you need in-depth understanding of algorithms, data structure, and software design. Tools used for coding: text editors, VS Code, Sublime, IDEs for basic code writing. Now, then tools used for programming: IDEs generally, Visual Studio, IntelliJ version, Control, GIT. I've explained GIT. You can check some of my other videos, though I'm still going to expatiate more on the IDEs and these GITs more separately on their own. Then debugging tools, of course. Then writing a Python script to print hello world, this is an example of coding. You understand? When you just write, okay, you go to Python, you now write print apostrophe hello world, you run, then it will now give you hello world. That you have already programmed that statement, hello world. You understand? It's what will reflect when you type this. As you can see, just writing that, you are coding already. But when it comes to programming involves building a complete web application with front end and back end logic all together. So the entirety of planning, writing an algorithm, writing the program, coding, testing, debugging, then after producing it into the market, you maintain. That's what programming encapsulates. So with all this, I know you can get the clear picture between coding and programming. Programming is wider than coding. Programming is the whole embodiment of the start to the finish and maintenance of the software, while coding is when you are writing syntaxes on programming languages. You understand? Thank you very much. So for clearer understanding, you can slow down the video and check one after the other, but it's very, very easy to understand. So you can even use this for your exams, your tests and all that, in case maybe there's something confusing. Your lecturer is saying something and you're just hearing coding, programming, you cannot really differentiate. This will help you differentiate it clearly. With this, you can break any barrier. You can understand it clearly. Okay, coding, this is programming. So let me just give you a clear picture again. Coding is when you are writing syntaxes on programming languages, when you open your JavaScript and you type a syntax like print hello world, you are coding. When you open your hypertext markup language file on Visual Studio Code and you write a syntax like, okay, h1, then you write a statement in the middle, h1, you run it, you are coding. But programming starts from designing. After designing, okay, you have a plan on ground. You write an algorithm according to the plan. Then you start writing code. After writing code, you test the software you have produced. In the process of testing, you do debugging. You check for mistakes, you understand, or defects, or things that are meant to be added are not added. Then after, you refer back to the coders or programmers, they will correct. Then when they have optimized it, they produce it into the market. Then you continue maintenance. All what I've said now is programming altogether. Thank you very much.